We're going to be looking at rounding, rounding to the nearest hundred. And I mean, why do we round it all anyway? It's when we don't really need to be exact. We ballpark is close enough. And yeah, rounding to the nearest hundred is kind of a rough estimate. But it's when we don't really need to know exactly how many. And it allows us to see, large numbers in particular, a little bit easier, or a little bit easier to understand what they mean or what we're talking about in a ballparky sort of way. So anyway, we're going to be looking at rounding to the nearest hundred. As you can see, there are 5 questions here, and I think I'm going to go through them one at a time, starting with question A. Okay, let's get on with it. So let's round 408 to the nearest hundred. So how do we go about that? So 408 to the nearest hundred. So all you have to do, if you know what you're rounding off to, you find that place value. So in this case, we've got the units, we've got the tens, and we've got the hundreds. Okay, so this becomes, once we know where it is, this is our target digit. And we need then to locate our indicator digit, and that's in the place value one place to the right of the target. In other words, one place value smaller, okay, by a factor of 10. So in this case, it's a 0. That's interesting. And the other piece of information we need to know is that 0 to 4 and 5 to 9. Now this is interesting because I always think of 0 to 4 as being small and 5 to 9 as being big. And if the indicator digit is from 0 to 4, in other words, it's small, the target digit doesn't change. It stays whatever it is. So in this case, it would stay a 4. If the indicator digit is from 5 to 9, in other words, the indicator digit is big, then this digit, our target digit, has to increase by 1. Okay, so having said all that, what happens in this case? This digit 0 is small, so he stays as a 4. This is a 0, and this gets converted to a 0. And so to the nearest hundred, it's 400. You can think of it this way. When you count in hundreds, right, you go 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. And 408, if you think about it, has to be somewhere between 400 and 500, right? So if I was to go, here's 400, here's 500. Okay, is it closer to 400 or is it closer to 500? Well, 450 is about here. 408 is lower than 450. It must be somewhere down here. And that is definitely close to 400. It's miles away from 500. So yeah, it is 400. Okay, so that's how you do that one. Let's clean all this up a little bit, make a bit of room, and we'll have a go at question B. Question B, we start with 818. Great, we're rounding to the nearest hundred, and so that's here. That's our target. Here's our indicator. Our indicator is a 1, so that is small. So this 8 stays an 8. That becomes a 0, that becomes a 0, and the answer becomes 800. So again, a nice, easy one to have a go at. Okay, let's have a look at question C. Question C, we have 25. Okay, so 25 is interesting. So with 25, you'll notice there is no digit in the hundreds. So this is quite small. One way to look at this to help makes it kind of clear, I think. It's a different way of doing it to the way we've been focusing on. But if I start with 0 and 100, that's the first 100, right? And 50 is here. Well, where's 25? It's about here. Here's 25. Now, where is it? Well, it is a long way away from 100. It's closer to 0. So if I round 25 to the nearest 100, you're better off saying it's 0, because it is a lot closer to 0 than 100. And that's how you would do those kinds of problems. Let's take a look at question D. Yeah, so question D is similar to question C, in that, look, when I write out 65, well, there is no hundreds digit. So again, it's probably better to think of it in terms of a number line, really quickly in your head. 0 and 100, here's 50, 65 is here somewhere, And that location is closer to 100 than it is to 0. So I guess the answer should be obvious. In this case, it's 100. Let's have a look at the last one, question E. Question E, we've got a big number here, but you know what? It really is quite easy. So let's write this down. So it's 9, 6, 2, 5, 1, 1. So again, focus. Where is the hundreds? Hundreds is here. So this is our target digit. This becomes our indicator digit. 1 place value to the right of the target. So is it big or is it small? Well, it's from 0 to 4, so it's small. So this stays a 5, these become zeros. So the final answer is here, 962 500. And it's done. It's that easy. Now don't forget there are other videos on rounding where I round to the nearest 10 and to the nearest 1,000 on my YouTube channel, or you can go to www.learnersgrid.com, see those videos there, see some work solution videos, and get a hold of some worksheets for extra practice.